What's happening to the Indian IT sector? The Indian IT sector, once the biggest contributor to India's GDP, is facing serious questions today. Despite its significant role, the sector's entry level salaries have remained more or less stagnant, with little to no significant increase over the years. Even though we are in 2025, freshers are still earning nearly the same salary as they did back in 2011. So, what's going wrong? In this video, we'll explore the root causes of low wages, the stark wage disparity between entry level employees and CEOs, and the larger implications of these trends. So, what is the problem? The problem is stagnant salaries and growing disparity. The first one being entry level salary stagnation. So, in 2011, the entry level salary for freshers in the IT sector was approximately 3.25 lakhs. In 2025, it's risen to only 3.75 lakhs. Now, that's a mere 15% increase in over a period of 13 years. Meanwhile, in the same time period, the CEO salaries have surged exponentially, sometimes by as much as 160%, with some even earning above 84 crore annually. So, what is the result? The widening gap where CEOs earn up to 1700 times more than the freshers. So, we are following a totally unstable and an inequitable model. So, the question is why the salaries aren't rising. Now, the pyramid structure of the Indian IT industry is where a vast number of low paying entry level employees support a few high paid executives is a key factor. Companies know that the entry level workers are easily replaceable, particularly in a labor market where many are willing to work even for low wages. Now, there's also the widespread perception that if someone is willing to work for, say, 10,000 rupees a month, then why should the company offer more? The next one is automation and AI. So, in recent years, the rise of automation and AI has further worsened the situation. Companies have increasingly turned to technology in order to cut costs. They are investing in AI systems that can replace human workers. So these systems, of course, boost profitability, but the benefits are often not passed on to the employees. Next is cost of living versus stagnant salaries. So while the cost of living has significantly increased, especially in urban centers, the wages have remained almost unchanged. In 2011, a 30,000 rupees salary was decent, but now in 2025, the same amount struggles to meet even the basic living expenses. This creates a severe financial strain on employees and reduces their discretionary income. That is the money left over, the leftover money after essential expenses for savings. So this decline in discretionary income has led to a reduction in economic demand, further hurting the economy. Disproportionate pay distribution. So companies like Infosys, TCS, HCL, and Wipro show the classic example of disproportionate wage distribution. While the CEOs pocket the majority of the compensation, it is the lower level employees who only get peanuts or only a fraction of what they actually deserve, resulting in morale and trust crisis within the company. Okay, so we have discussed the current situation and the problem. So, what are the solutions? So, the solutions is primarily moving towards more equitable compensation. So, given the current situation, it is clear that a change is needed. Here are some potential solutions that can help bridge the widening wage gap. The first one being structured salary bands. So, companies should introduce salary bands for different roles, ensuring that the pay ratio between the entry level employees and the CEOs remains balanced. If the CEO salary increases, the entry level salaries should also see a proportional increase. This would also help make salary increments fairer and more aligned with the inflation. Second one being pay cap for CEOs. So a reasonable cap on CEO salaries should be established and linked to the average salary of the employees. This will prevent the unjustified high earnings at the top and ensure a more equitable distribution of the company's profits. Next one is link the salaries to inflation. So entry level employees should receive annual increments that reflect inflation and cost of living increases. So in a country where in India, where the inflation has been steadily rising, especially in the last few years that we have seen, the salaries must also grow accordingly. Next one is profit sharing. So companies should introduce profit sharing schemes where a small percentage of the company's profits are distributed among lower level employees. This would give workers a sense of ownership and also motivate them to work harder, knowing that they have a stake in the company's success. Next one is government intervention. So the government could play a key role by incentivizing companies to adopt fair wage practices. For instance, companies that maintain a reasonable salary ratio between freshers and CEOs should receive tax incentives or subsidies for employee training programs. Next one is collaboration with educational institutions. So companies should collaborate with universities or colleges to design curriculum and training programs that meets the current skill requirements of the IT sector. This would reduce the training burden on companies and ensure that graduates are ready for the workforce. Next one is addressing the contract labor. So the rise of contract labor has worsened the pay disparity, with many workers receiving significantly lower wages and also fewer benefits. So companies should be required to treat contractors as full-time employees, offering them the same benefits and opportunities for growth. Coming to global comparison, India versus the developed economies. So in comparison to developed economies like the US and Europe, the India's IT sector lags in terms of consistent salary growth. In these regions, wages for entry-level employees are typically adjusted for inflation and the cost of living, which helps maintain a balance between profitability as well as employee welfare. Even China, which is not yet a fully developed economy, manages to increase its wages for the entry-level workers alongside the CEO salaries. So this is one lesson that India needs to learn from China. Coming to the conclusion, for the IT sector in India to remain sustainable, there definitely needs a shift in how the companies approach compensation. The focus should be on creating a fair, transparent system where employees at all levels are compensated fairly for their work. While, of course, profitability is important, it should not come at the expense of employee welfare. Implementing ethical business practices such as equitable profit sharing, wage adjustments, and fair pay ratios will all help build a more sustainable and prosperous, future for the Indian IT industry. So, if we take action now, we can close the wage gap and also improve employee morale and ensure the long-term success of the IT sector. So, the time for change is now. So that's it for today's video. If you work in the IT sector, or if you know anyone who does, or even if you're a student preparing for government exams, what are your thoughts? Please feel free to share your experience or thoughts in the comment section below.